Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Coe Show. My name is Mason Coe. I'm here with my co-host, Aaron Coe. And
Hello.
happy Easter. We're recording this on Easter. Hopefully it'll come out by tonight. We'll see. But today, another day without sports, trying to find shit to talk about on the podcast.
We have a lot, though.
We do have a lot. Yeah, we actually do have a lot. Believe it or not, we're able to come up with pretty decent ideas every once in a while. So to start off, we'll just go over some news. I don't know if you saw this headline this morning from ESPN. Todd Gurley to wear number 21 for the Falcons without Deion Sanders' permission. Deion said, don't wear it, specifically. He said, do not wear it.
Here's the thing about Deion. He played there for 5 years, 4 years.
Yeah, 4. I think it was 4. I looked it up.
Okay. I don't think that's enough to claim that. I mean, he's obviously one of their great players all time in that franchise. Fun to watch, great personality. If you like that, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But dude, you didn't play there long enough.
There's a reason his number isn't retired there.
Yeah.
He played there for 4 years, didn't win either of his rings there. So it's like, what? I don't know, man. I mean, get over yourself. He's all-time great, one of the best football players of all time, one of the best athletes in general of all time. He only played 4 years somewhere, though. He didn't play anywhere long enough to get that sort of I don't want to use the word respect because he deserves respect, but that notoriety as far as just the team goes. Like, as a football player, he's a legend. But 4 years is not enough. And I respect Gurley for that move. I think he gets it, he's just like, man, come on, you played there for 4 years, it's not retired. It's not your number.
Has no one worn that number in all that time?
People have worn it since then too.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, if you look on Football Reference, it shows the numbers that they've worn and for the teams, and if you click on their jersey, it shows every player that's worn the number for that team, and there's been like 7 guys.
Oh man, yeah. Why
weird.
Does he have an issue now? Did he have an issue before?
Maybe he has an issue with Todd Gurley. I don't know. Something I don't know about. Maybe. I don't know. Does Deion have something against guys that hold out? Like, is he one of the guys that... I don't know. Anyway.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. It's just dumb. Anyway, Brandon Cooks and a 4th round for the 57th pick. So, my thoughts are, that's not a terrible trade for the Rams. They get a 57th pick. They'll easily be able to replace Brandon Cooks with a good wide receiver prospect if they want to with that pick, especially because they are so low on draft capital. And they're going to eat $21.8 million on Cooks next year, though. So I don't know. And the Texans, What the hell are you doing? Yeah. What is Brandon Cooks going to really offer to that team? Is Brandon Cooks going to win them, get them to the playoffs or win them more games?
He doesn't seem like a game changer to me.
No, not at all.
Good player.
He's a good solid player, and also there's got to be a reason he's been traded 4 times, 3 times.
Is this 4 or 5 teams in 7 years? It'll be this year. I mean,
there's something to be said about that. There has to be, right?
Yeah, there's something going on there where he's not fitting in, or there's more because he's played for good teams. It's not like he's played for shitty teams that needed to dump him.
He's been a part of some. He was with Michael Thomas in New Orleans. That receiver core was nasty. So the Texans though,
what a shit show that.
Yeah, essentially what. If you just line up the Hopkins trade and this trade, they pretty much traded Brandon Cooks for DeAndre Hopkins.
Wow.
Pretty rough. 4 teams. It's 4. I have it actually here. 4 teams in 7 years. So there's got to be a reason there. And then next year, they have no cap room for next year. The Rams do, obviously.
Right.
And even for 2021, they have 68% of their cap already filled. And they have to re-sign Jalen Ramsey.
Wow.
So, that probably brings them up to almost 90% of their cap.
Gosh, yeah.
And it's not even 2020 yet, and that's for 2021.
I like it, Rams. Keep paying shitty players. Love it. Keep doing that.
100%. XFL suspends operations with no plans to return. That's really sad for me. not that I really watched a ton of it, but I just think it was really cool to do that. And also, you've already seen guys like PJ Walker and Jordan Ta'amu and a lineman just got signed too. He had a funny name. I don't remember his name, but there's already a few guys getting signed from the XFL, so it's just another good opportunity.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, it's just a fun league. The Twitter presence of the XFL was amazing.
Okay.
They even like tweeted memes when they had to like shut down. Wow. They were tweeting memes about it, which is something that I just have an appreciation for. Just having a good social media presence. Okay, and then so what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, I didn't really watch it. I watched a few minutes here and there just to kind of see what it was about. I could have seen myself getting not big into it, but a little bit into it. But yeah, so it's a bummer. I hope they find a way to come back. I think more than anything, it's a great way for quarterbacks who got overlooked to put up some film. And because I think the NFL is more and more going to have a quarterback problem as we go forward. So to just have more guys out there getting kind of post-college reps would have been a good thing.
PJ Walker was on the Colts roster and he got cut. And then he won. I mean, they didn't name an MVP, but he definitely was the MVP of that league. And now he's backing up for Carolina Panthers behind Teddy Bridgewater. So,
right.
I mean, yeah, it's just more opportunities for guys. You hear about guys like Vinatieri. He played in football in Europe. He was a kicker in Europe until he was like... He didn't get to the league until he was like 27. I mean, just insanity. Not 27, 25 or something.
Right.
He didn't get to the league until very late, though. And I mean, there are just going to be more examples of guys like that if a league like the XFL is able to keep moving. I suspect Vince McMahon will probably try to bring it back in a couple years.
I hope so.
I think they said no plans to return, probably just to like kind of cover their bases a little.
Yeah.
And they don't want to have to be on the hook for paying employees, probably.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of sad. But
it's funny, talking about other players getting opportunities that might have gotten overlooked. I heard Holmgren tell a story a while back about Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
Not our Kurt Warner, not the Seattle one, but the Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Quarterback. And so Holmgren early on he had Brett Favre. He drafted Mark Brunell, who went on to have a solid career for the Jaguars, and he had I think it was Ty Detmer. It's kind of a journeyman, but a good prospect.
Not many people can say they had a solid career for the Jaguars. I mean, that's pretty.
That's true.
Pretty solid feat.
Yeah, he went to a couple of Pro Bowls and things like that. Put up some good numbers, but he also one year had a guy named Kurt Warner in camp, and cut him, because he had those other guys, and I think there was something like, he said have this new guy run shotgun. I may be butchering the story, but have him run this specific drill or specific offense, and Warner said, I'm not quite ready to do that. Can you imagine? You're getting your shot and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna need a few minutes. And so Holmgren was like, he didn't say this, but he's like, fuck this guy. What the fuck? I got three other guys. You're not ready. I'm not ready for you. Get out of here. Yeah. Then he goes and goes on to go to the Hall of Fame. But that's but Warner went and played for a couple of other leagues. I think he may have played in Europe. He played for some of the smaller leagues that they had then.
Was he an Arena League guy?
Arena League, yeah. He played there. So imagine if a guy like that had never gotten another shot to play somewhere. So that's what that was my main reason for liking the XFL was, I think it would help the NFL, and I think it's just it's another fun thing to check out. You can take your family there for a reasonable price, and it's a bummer. I hope they bring it back.
Oh boy, how fun does an XFL game sound right now to watch?
Anything.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'd watch you and your buddies play up at the elementary school right now, honestly. Bring a cooler and let's go. Yeah, fuck it. Yeah, I'll watch anything right now.
Donovan Mitchell saying he has an unsalvageable relationship with Rudy Gobert. This comes at an interesting time after Gobert was being careless in the locker room when he had COVID and gave it to Mitchell. I I don't know the specifics of it. It was a very vague comment, and I definitely read it out of context. Like I don't know. But man, I mean that's kind of insane if the COVID stuff has to do something with it.
I always wonder, like, dude, why do you need to take that public?
Yeah.
Like, why, I have trouble with guys like that sometimes. Like, if you've got a beef with somebody, I mean, you can't go out in the parking lot and duke it out because social distancing. You can't do that right now. But you know what? Give it some time. Like, think about it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
But Aaron your teammate out. Like, can you imagine?
And that's the thing. I don't know. I don't know if he actually. The tweet I saw, man, I really should have put the tweet here, but it might have been. I think it was like a source thing, like sources say.
Okay.
Donovan Mitchell says.
Okay.
So I don't know how public he went because he could have like told like a reporter or something that
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. The Jazz are one of the teams in the NBA that looked like they had a really good shot at winning this year. But man, I mean, there are some people. I think Joe Ingles said he expects the team to be completely fine once everything comes back. But I mean, you kind of got to say that. I think. Yeah, I wonder. I mean, I wonder if one of them will get traded. I mean, who knows?
Who knows?
Moving on, Breeze to NBC over ESPN after his retirement. ESPN missing out on an Al Michaels trade, Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. There might have been Tony Romo too. They missed out on Tony Romo.
Hey, we got Booger, baby.
Yeah,
we don't need anybody else.
That's all we need. Man, when are they gonna McAfee for Monday Night Football? Man, McAfee for Monday Night Football. Seriously, he's electric up there. The way he describes it, or the way he kind of thinks about it, is once this generation of execs dies or retires, and then like kind of the newer, guys are more his age moving up the ranks, that they'll have a better understanding of internet presence and and that kind of stuff. And also a lot of old people might not be a huge fan of McAfee. On the broadcast, I think he caught some heat on the Thursday Night Football game that he did because he was very energetic, and cracking jokes and stuff, which I think my generation loves that. I think there's, as you get older, people want more buttoned up. I don't know, people that with McAfee, you never know what words are going to fly out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
I don't know if I would love him or not. I need to watch him some more, but he might be a little much for me.
I'd like him as a third man in the booth.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. But anybody but Booger.
Seriously, yeah. What do you think is wrong with ESPN?
I don't know. I still believe Monday Night Football is an institution.
Yeah.
And the very best they should have the best broadcasters.
Definitely, no doubt.
But they've done a lot. I mean, really, they've done a lot of weird shit. I think the old Raiders coach, and now he's the Raiders coach again. Gruden, yeah. I thought Gruden was good, but other than that, they've done a lot of weird shit over the the last 20 years or so. I don't know what they're doing. I have not experienced a Monday Night Football crew that is like solid, like those are the Monday Night Boys, I haven't really had. It's just been, I don't know, it's just always been different for me. Sunday Night Football has been better than Monday Night Football in terms of broadcasters for a good 20 years. They had crazy. A team with Theismann back in the day. Yeah. Al McGuire. Is it Al McGuire? I can't remember the other guy's name, but they were fantastic. They sort of butted heads, and it was really entertaining. And then, I know a lot of people hate national broadcasters because everybody feels like they're shitting on their team. Yeah. So, whatever game they're doing that week, those are the fans that hate those broadcasters. Yeah. But I feel like the Sunday night guys are good right now. Al Michaels and Collinsworth. Yeah. A lot of people hate Collinsworth. I think he's really good at it. I like him. Comparatively speaking, right? Definitely. Definitely. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it'd sure be nice if they could get a good team in place, because it's that's still the deal. Who do they even go after now? I mean, there's nobody left. There's literally there's no one left. Yeah. Man, I would have loved to have seen an Al Michaels Peyton Manning booth.
I think that would have had the potential to last for a long time.
That had a good shot.
Peyton, apparently Peyton, the reason he didn't do it right out of retirement was that he didn't want to have to commentate on Eli. Apparently, that was part of the reason.
I understand that. How come Eli's not as good as me? I would have never thrown that fucking pass. Eli, do you have any goddamn facial expressions at all? What the hell's going on with you, boy?
Yeah, I think Peyton would have been great at it. Obviously, I don't know. It just seems really weird to me that ESPN can't get guys. But yeah. And the last little bit of news we have for the day is there will be, I think they're actually using Zoom. There will be some sort of Zoom conference like thing for the NFL draft. Right. The reason I find that interesting is because there will be, I think 50 guys ish that are gonna have cameras. I think there's 2 camera angles, one that shows them like on the couch or whatever, and then they're gonna like walk in front of the other one and talk to Roger Goodell or something.
Okay.
Apparently fans are getting involved too. I don't know exactly how they're gonna do that, but man, there's gonna be 50 cameras about. There will be 50 households of people that are not following the social distancing rules, and I think they're gonna catch a lot of heat for it.
Yeah.
I think obviously the draft is way less fun to watch without the reactions and that stuff. But for the love of God, I mean, do you really think, like Chase Young, Isaiah Simmons, Burrow, Okudah, all these guys, you think none of them, they're just not going to have anyone over?
Well, I don't think it's even the player's call. It's mama, right?
Yeah, a lot of it. Yeah, and that's
their
thing.
Mom is, you have one, your kid's going to get drafted once in your lifetime. Like, you want to celebrate that. And
my prediction, like,
I'm not saying it's right for them to do it. Let me just make it clear. Social distancing.
Yeah, stay away from people.
But I understand that would, that would suck.
Joe Burrow is going to catch it. I think Joe Burrow, I mean, it doesn't have to be Joe Burrow, anyone. Like, these kids are going to catch a ton of heat.
Yeah, they will.
And it's going to suck. I hope that people don't just shit on the kids for it.
Yeah. Well, don't shit on their mama either. That's not right.
I mean, it's a tough one because, if I was getting drafted in the NFL, like, I want my boys over. You know? Like,
it would be hard.
It would be so hard. Yeah. So it's tough. I mean, who do you really blame? I mean.
Yeah. We always find somebody.
Definitely.
Twitter will find somebody to blame. Always.
Yeah. All right. Moving into, I guess, the meat of the episode. We will today be talking about our worst sports memories. So yeah, I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Mm-hmm. I'm a Seattle sports fan.
Yeah.
So
yeah, seriously.
There's been a lot of pain. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, I'm kind of, I don't know if these are exactly in order, but I'm kind of in general going from working my way up to the most painful at the end. But yeah, I think the one, there was one that was, it didn't kill me, but it hurt for sure. And that was 2003 playoffs, Green Bay, Seattle at Green Bay. Game goes into OT. Hasselbeck is out there for the toss, wins the toss. And he says, like, into the microphone, we want the ball and we're gonna score in front of the Green Bay fans. And then he immediately goes out and throws a pick six.
Nice.
Now there's a lot of theories that the receiver, I think it was Alex Bannister. First of all, why the fuck is that guy? Why are we going to that guy?
Yeah.
Come on, Holmgren.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of people feel like he ran the wrong route, but that's a rumor that none of those guys will confirm.
Huh.
I would have been like, if I was Hasselbeck, I would have been like, that son of a bitch ran the wrong route. Go ask him.
Yeah, because you look like the biggest ass of all time for that one. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty rough. I love Hasselbeck, obviously.
Yeah, when he said it, I just like, hell yeah, we're gonna score, we're gonna win this game. And, no, it didn't. Yeah, that watching him run it back. And
oh God!
You always have those moments where like you're going through the stages of grief in like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Where you're just horrified, and then you're like, somebody's gonna tackle him, and we're gonna get the ball back. And then you're just then it's kind of acceptance. Like you're just going through these all in just as he's running down the field, and it's just it's so painful.
Yeah, that's I mean, one of the most instant. I don't know about karma, but one of the most instant instant regret.
Karma was a bitch that day. That's for sure. Yeah.
All right, I'll move on to one of mine. 2016 Mariners A's game 161. This was October 1st, 2016. We win. Our playoff hopes remain alive. I believe, home alone because I'm pretty sure I was naked on the couch. Home alone. We were down 7-4 in the fourth. And Nelson Cruz, so first of all, run scores, and then someone gets on, run scores, and then next at bat, Nelson Cruz hits a 2-run homer to tie it in the seventh. And if you look up the clip, I mean, he gets so hype running around first. It's like one of my favorite clips. It's pretty awesome. And then we fall down 8-7 next inning. And then at the next half inning, Ben Gamel hits an RBI single with 2 outs to keep us alive. A's score in the top of the 10th on a double. And last at bat, Kyle Seager with a runner on third and 2 outs flies out to left. And
sorry, that was Kyle Seager's career.
And what I was just about to say is, so his average that year was 278. Next year 249. Next year 221.
Man, what the hell? That's a whole different thing. But what happened to that guy? Good fielder. When he was coming up, it looked like he was gonna. I never thought he was gonna be a big time hitter, but he looked like a guy that was gonna, be 275 and 25 every year.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Holy cow! Ouch.
Yeah. So that one was pretty heartbreaking because that was the closest that I think I had witnessed the Mariners coming to the playoffs. There hasn't been, honestly, too much heartbreak for me with the Mariners just because they've been mostly hopeless.
Yeah, you have to have hope to have your heart
So that's broken. The thing. I mean, going into game 161, when we still have a chance, and then losing in the 10th inning, I mean, yeah, that was really tough. That was the only time that I've really felt heartbreak because of the Mariners, personally. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had much heartbreak either because they suck. So
exactly, yeah,
that's what we
expect. Yeah, it's tough.
We got a couple things of them on here.
So, I guess we could just put Mariners in general on this list.
Yeah, as far as every game they've ever played,
worst sports memories. Yeah.
So I'll group 2 of these together because I know I have more than you because I've been alive too long. So a couple of Apple Cups here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a Coug fan listening to this would wonder why do you have these ranked so low?
Mm-hmm.
Because they may be very high on their favorite moments list.
Yeah.
Right. But kind of like you were talking about with the Mariners, like there's so many things that go into heartbreak.
Yeah.
What were your expectations?
Mm-hmm.
What how far of a fall was it?
Yeah.
How devastating was that?
Who's
moment?
It against?
What were the implications of winning or losing that game? So, so the first Apple Cup I have mentioned, and there's a bunch of them, but the 2 that I picked out. So the 2008 Apple Cup, it sucked. That was, by the way, the worst damn matchup ever.
2008, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, that was one of the first Apple Cups I remember.
Yeah. Okay.
Sadly.
Sorry. Yeah. So you were 8 years old.
Yeah.
So I think the Cougs had won one game early in the season against. It might have been a non BCS level team. I can't remember. It might have been like a Portland State or somebody like. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But. Huskies were 0-10 at the time, I believe. So just a horrible matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I was so checked out. So the Huskies had fired Willingham, but the worst move ever. You fire a guy, and you say, "Why don't you stay for the next 5 weeks?" And you don't do that. You fire a guy. He
get him out.
You turn off the card key, and you got a half an hour to pack your shit up.
Yep.
And that's it. You don't keep him on, So the team was checked out. I was pretty checked out. I mean, once you're out of bowl contention, it's not that I don't care. I mean, I'm looking at how can we be good for next year.
Yeah.
But 0-12, yeah, horrible, awful, but it doesn't, like, to me, like 2-10, 0-12, like, whatever.
You're just a shitty football
horrible.
team. Yeah.
Either way.
If you're not making a bowl game, that year is rendered useless, essentially.
Right.
I still care about the games I'm watching. But...
Sure, yeah. So I did care, and I watched it, and it was an awful football game. It went into overtime. And I don't even remember what happened. I know that the Cougs kicked a field goal. I can't remember much about the game because I didn't really care. But yeah, it sucked. And then the weird part about that season was the Huskies had to play Cal, like, I think it was 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
I don't remember why it got rescheduled.
Wait, was this? Look, that's a.
Oh, there it is.
That's the calendar. Yeah. So I have
a week later, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why I have that even on my wall. It's Husky football 2009. It's their schedule.
Also, it's 2009. My bad. Not 2008.
This was the right year, right?
No, that's Sark's first year.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's never mind.
Okay,
cut that.
That's Sark's first year, so they went 5-7 that year. We're pointing at something you can't see.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it's a poster.
So it was 2008. That was Sark's first year.
Yeah.
So this was Willingham's last year.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just a horrible season. Bad all the way. That just made it worse.
Yep.
The Cougs were 2-9, 2-10,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Yeah, you can have that one. Schultz and whoever else might be watching this. You can have that one. But yeah, it sucked. But it the whole season sucked. So it just doesn't hurt as much as it might have. And then the other Apple Cup was the 1992 Apple Cup in Pullman, and I was at that one.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't go into it too deep, but here's the thing about that game. So it was horrible. I was there. It was fucking cold and miserable. I didn't wear enough clothes.
Yeah, this is the Snow Bowl.
Yeah, the Snow Bowl. Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't wear enough shit. But the Huskies had already lost a couple of weeks earlier. So that game, and Cougars kicked their ass. Just kicked the Huskies' ass. So it sucked. I was there. I sat through the whole thing, cold, miserable. But here's the thing about that game and why it's not, number one. I mean, some might think it would be number one, and freezing my ass off, maybe it should have been, but it didn't. The outcome didn't mean anything to the Huskies really, other than pride, which it's important, obviously with the Apple Cup. But the Huskies had clinched the Rose Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
They were out of national championship consideration because of their earlier loss, and so they were pretty checked out, I think. So yeah, it sucked. It was miserable, but it ultimately didn't mean a whole lot to that season.
Yeah, it's weird because wait, actually, before I say anything, were you in the band at that time?
Yeah, I was in the marching band that day.
By the way, for those who didn't know, Husky marching band member right here. But yeah,
back when I used to lace them up and put the helmet on, took the field, ran through the tunnel. Yeah. Tassel flying in the air.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it probably sucked ass trying to play trumpet, huh?
Yeah, my face was so cold I couldn't play like any high notes.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah,
it was not fun. And I was in my uniform, but I didn't. And I thought, well, we're gonna do a pregame and a halftime show.
Mm-hmm.
Like that'll get my blood pumping and warm me up. But we didn't do that because there was too much snow on the field, and they wouldn't let us because of they wanted to take care of it for the players.
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I froze my ass off. Yeah, it sucked. That was a shitty day.
Yeah, I imagine. All right. My next one, also from 2016. This will be the 2016 UW versus USC game. This was very sad. We stayed up. We woke up very, very early for college game day.
Yeah.
And I fully expected to win that game for some reason. I don't know why. I just fully expected to win that game. I was very confident. Really, the only thing that came out of that game was John Ross shaking the shit out of Adoree Jackson for that touchdown.
Right.
The only touchdown of the game, by the way, was John Ross had to break someone's ankles one-on-one and was wide the fuck open. That's the only touchdown we scored that game. I mean, yeah, it was just, I think we lost, 29-13 or something. just an ugly game. Wasn't very fun to watch the entire time. They did wear those sweet military appreciation uniforms.
Oh, that's right.
The black ones, which kind of have a I mean, for you, not good, but they do kind of have a sour taste in my mouth because of that game. Honestly, that was the first time they wore those. Not the black jerseys, but the military appreciation ones specifically.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a ton to say about that one. It was just a shitty game. Like, it was just bad.
It was, USC was down, but they had just put, who's the quarterback?
Darnold.
They just put Darnold in fairly, recently.
Yeah.
And he completely turned their season around.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I forgot about that, actually.
Yeah, so we felt confident because they'd struggled. They got a new quarterback, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was tough because, we were... right up there in the rankings, number 4, and looked like okay, here we go. And then they did end up getting into the playoff.
Yeah,
but at that moment, you're like, wow, we're done, we're out.
Yep, it was very heartbreaking because for me, don't worry about it. For me, this was the first time that the Huskies had a shot to do something really big in my lifetime.
Yeah.
This was. I mean, they had, we were excited for Alamo Bowls and
any
stuff.
bowl.
Yeah. So this was the first time that I was like, wow, they're really doing something big. And that was, I was pretty heartbroken after that one. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got for that one.
And then I won't go too deep into this one because I addressed it before, but my first sports disappointment when I was a little kid in West Virginia watching the Cowboys lose to the Steelers. The Super Bowl was in 1979, and Jackie Smith dropping the pass and all that. So that was my first really bad sports moment that I remember.
Yeah. And then I'll briefly touch on this one too because we talked about it. The Tucker game where I found out that my dog was going to die, and we got smacked. I actually have the box score from it up, so we can be a little bit more accurate. I think we said we were down to 22-0.
I don't know where I got those numbers from. It's probably another game.
I think
I Swiss cheesed it all together.
Yeah, I think when we walked in, it was 21-7. And the interesting thing about that game was if you just look at the box score and we were not down more than 14 until the third quarter. But when you look at the stats, I mean, that's where it really gets insane. Taylor Martinez was the name of the old chap that we were trying to figure out last time. He only passed 7 for 11 for 150 yards and a touchdown. I mean, that's not that great,
Didn't need to.
The problem was he ran for 19 carries, 137 yards, and 3 touchdowns, including an 80-yard touchdown. They also had Roy Helu Jr., NFL running back, obviously, 10 carries, 110, 2 touchdowns. Rex Burkhead, also NFL guy, 13 carries, 104, and a touchdown. Oh, and also Helu had a 65-yarder, and Burkhead had a 24-yard touchdown. My God. I mean, 383 yards rushing on 54 carries, 6 touchdowns.
I remember watching that and just, first of all, it felt like they could just run the ball for 8 yards every time.
Well, they averaged 7 yards a carry. So they literally did.
So they could bowl us over.
Yep.
And then Martinez just, if I remember,
he was faster than everyone on the field.
He just ran right around. So we couldn't be physical, but we didn't have the speed either.
It was bad.
Yeah, it was rough. Rough.
Another rough part about that game that I think probably clouded, made it even worse for me was Jake Locker had a terrible day too.
Yeah.
He went 4 for 20, 71 yards, 3.6 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown and 2 picks. He did, 11 carries for 59 yards and a touchdown, but that's just, that's kind of normal.
That had to be probably his worst game or one of them.
And man, Chris Polk, 17 carries for 55 yards. He did have a touchdown, but 17 for 55 isn't great. And we just got shit on.
Yeah.
It was rough.
Yeah.
Very rough. Jermaine Kearse only had 2 catches that game. Terrible.
Yeah, it's hard to make your dog dying worse.
Yeah,
the Huskies did.
How do you make that day worse? Honestly, yeah. This was one of those games where even though, I mean, by the end of it, we lost 56-21. So by the end of it, it was a blowout.
Right.
For the most part of the game, we're only down 2 scores. But it felt so much worse. I mean, just by the way we described it last time, you could tell it felt like it was worse to us. I'm glad I was able to track this down. And yeah, at that time, we moved to 1-2. Nebraska was ranked 8th at the time. I didn't even know that.
I knew they were up there, but yeah.
I think that was actually something that you might have told me was like, by the way, you're like Nebraska's really good. Like, we're not gonna win. I'm pretty sure you said that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you said that.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, it'll cheer me up either way. Nope. Made it worse. Made it way worse.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so I've got a couple that I'll group together here again. So a couple of Sweet 16s by the Huskies. And these are painful for kind of different reasons, even though the opponent was the same and it was the same spot in the tournament.
Yeah.
But they were just kind of the way the games went was very different. So in 1998, when Bob Bender was the coach, and we had a big guy named Todd McCullough, and we had Slick Watt's son playing guard. And I want to say that they were down almost the entire game, and they came and they tied it up with I think 30 seconds or thereabouts left.
Oh wow.
So, you know, I didn't feel so much like they were gonna win until the end. You're like, oh shit, okay, we got momentum. You know, here we go. And then, so they put up a shot, it misses, and you know that moment where the other team misses a shot, and you're like, yes. And then they got the rebound. Shit. They put it up again. It misses. Yes! And then a guy tips it. Shit! No, it missed again. And then where does it go? It comes back a little shy of the free throw line, I think. Where does the fucking ball bounce? To their best player.
Yep.
Rip Hamilton.
Yep.
And he falls on his ass and floats one up there, and it goes in as the buzzer sounded. And it was just that moment of, yes, no, yes. I mean, it was crazy. How much your heart can go back and forth in 5 seconds.
Were we on our way home from school? I think we saw it on the TV. It was on ESPN. They were playing like March Madness.
That's right.
They're playing like March Madness clips. And that was on there, and you were like, "You need to watch this." And, and I had not even for some reason I definitely had to have seen that clip at some point, but I didn't remember it at all. Yeah. And like I had that emotion like while watching it, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I can't even imagine what you were feeling actually while it was happening at the time, and you don't know the outcome. Yeah, I mean
that was rough, and then. The other Sweet 16 was 2005-06 season. We're up 5 with 35 seconds left, which, not insurmountable, but you're feeling good. You're feeling good. And so this Rashad Anderson hits a fairly long three. So I'll just kind of go over the sequence here because it's kind of interesting. So Anderson hits a 3. Detman gets fouled. Hits both free throws. Now we're up 4 with 21 seconds. Still feeling pretty good. And then Mike Jensen. I hope you don't watch this podcast, but oh my God. One of the worst plays I've ever seen. He, fouls a guy under the basket. Like if you're gonna foul a guy, he better feel it and he better hit the ground.
That ball better not go in, period.
That ball cannot go in.
Nuh-uh.
And especially in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're going to hit the guy, hit the guy.
Get a flagrant. Actually, no. That wouldn't.
I can't do that. But there are ways to rake across on it. Like, there are ways to do it.
Yeah,
the dude was 6'7". We're not talking about a little guard, caught
just wasn't strong enough.
We're talking about a big dude.
Yeah.
Like, there's no excuse for this Mike Jensen, you fucker. Sorry, was that out loud? So he fouls the guy. The guy makes the free throw. Then Roy hits he hits 2 free throws. With 7.9 seconds left. So we're feeling pretty good again. We're up by 3 now. But so this Anderson cat, he hits a Steph Curry like 3.
Right.
Appleby played pretty good defense on him. Appleby not a great defender, but he was in the guy's grill, forced him to fade away. Appleby had his arm up.
Mm-hmm.
The guy elevates, shoots it over him, and it goes in. Crazy. And this cat never played in the NBA. I don't believe. He played overseas and stuff, but he wasn't drafted.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got another shot though. We get the ball back, and Appleby, who we talked about this before, but the dude could hit from anywhere in the gym. He gets a wide open look. It is probably 5 feet behind the line, but he did that routinely.
Yeah.
That was kind of where he shot from most of the time, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
And he misses it. That puts it into overtime.
Mm-hmm.
They had a bad turnover, and it was just to go from that up by 5, at around 30 seconds to just watching it completely fall apart. And the way it did it you had so many chances with Jensen foul and Appleby getting a wide open look. And the crazy thing is they hit their free throws too. Like usually these things happen when you miss your free throws. They made 4 free throws in 21 seconds, and they still couldn't close the goddamn door. So that was rough. And it was UConn again. Husky on Husky crime. Yeah, so that was rough.
Man, I mean, all right, I'll go to my next one. I only got 2 left, by the way. How many do you got left?
I got a lot.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I just honestly, a lot of it for me is because the Seahawks have either been good or kind of hopeless my whole life. So obviously there's some heartbreak with the Seahawks.
Sure, yeah,
there's some heartbreak with them, but I was too young to really remember the Sonics a ton, and they were just ass when I was alive. The Mariners, like we discussed, just bad. I haven't experienced a ton, but one of them, 2016 was a shitty year. Game against Alabama, UW.
Right.
The reason this wouldn't normally be on the list because I think the spread was like 10 points or something ridiculous.
I don't think we expected
I did not expect to win.
Kind of just happy to be there.
Exactly. I was very happy to be there. I was hopeful, definitely. Especially, you drive down and score right on the first possession.
Yeah.
Easy, too. It was clean. And, I think it was me, you, and Geesh, right? It wasn't your friend Geesh here. Yeah. So we were all in the living room, and I think the reaction was like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, whoa. We just scored on the Alabama defense?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I guess at that time you could say we were gaining this false hope.
Right.
Which, hope is what leads to heartbreak. So, we expected to lose, gain this hope, and then Browning throws a pick 6 to end the half.
Yeah.
Oh, that was devastating.
Yeah.
And then we didn't do jack shit for the rest of the game. So ended up losing 27-13 or something. I don't fucking care. I don't remember. We lost by a couple possessions. It was pretty rough. I mean, it was nice though because no one could really, I guess, talk shit about that because it was like we made it to the playoffs and we were playing Alabama.
Yeah.
So I was still very proud. And ultimately, it was a good experience being in the playoffs.
Yes, it was.
But at the same time, maybe it would have been nicer just to win the Rose Bowl.
Yeah. It was tough, and it was so. I just remember how excited we were when they announced the playoff field.
We were. That was like the most nervous I've been.
Yeah.
About anything in sports, even at like live games. Like,
right.
I was, man, we jumped up and screamed and hugged each other. Like, that was insane. We were so happy. So I guess I wouldn't trade that for a Rose Bowl win, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough to say.
It's hard. It's hard to say.
It's tough to say. Yeah. Go ahead though.
Okay. So this one is one, maybe a lot of Husky fans wouldn't remember this that well, but so Huskies won the national championship in 1991.
Mm.
The year before, what a lot of people may not remember is they lost early in the season to Colorado, 20-14, I think it was, at Colorado. They had chances to put it in the end zone at the end of the game, couldn't get it done. Colorado eventually went on to win the championship that year. So that's a pretty quality loss.
Yeah.
You lose, close game on the road to the eventual national champion.
Definitely.
So they recovered from that loss, and they got all the way up to number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado had lost one and tied one. Colorado, that's the famous the 5th down play where they were given an extra
I was
down.
going to ask that. Yeah, man. By the way, I think it's
Missouri. I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was Missouri. I think it's very little known that a heart attack was the reason for that.
That's right.
The down marker guy had a heart attack. So like people actually like came after him because they thought he like cheated for them.
Oh my gosh.
Dude had a fucking heart attack.
Yeah.
So I mean, by the way, just keep that in mind when talking about that. It's I feel like it's a misunderstood event in football history. It was a health issue. It's still inexcusable. I mean, what the hell are you doing? Someone's got to someone on the field. I mean, honestly, I blame the refs more than anyone.
Yeah.
The refs should know what's going on. The defense, the guy. Why didn't the coach of the other team say anything? Anyway, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, crazy. It's one of the crazier plays in college football history.
Definitely.
So, so sorry, Canfields, but your title is tainted. Just kidding, John. Just kidding. We can't fight anyway. Social distancing. But okay, so the Huskies, they work their way all the way back up to number 2. And then they have this home game versus UCLA. UCLA was a good football team, but they weren't a contender. And they pissed that game away. I think they were maybe looking ahead. And they lost that game. And I think what made it hurt even more was the next week, number 1 Notre Dame loses. So you're sitting there going, Jesus Christ. We could have been number 1 right now.
Yep.
Had the Huskies won that game. So that was painful at the moment and got more painful as the season played out. So it was a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to the Rose Bowl and it set them up to win it next year. But man, can you imagine, winning 2 titles in a row? How awesome that would have been.
Was the East Coast bias a big thing then?
Oh boy, that's a whole nother show probably. But the East Coast bias, there's just more. There are more voters there.
Yeah.
And they see those games more.
No one's staying up till 10 o'clock to watch a middling Pac-12 team.
Back then, it probably honestly wasn't. Well, in some ways it was better. In some ways it was worse. The games were earlier. There weren't 7:30 games.
Right. Yeah.
So they could actually watch the games. However, not all the games were on TV, and you couldn't watch. You didn't see as many replays. You couldn't go on Twitter and see what happened. You had to, hope maybe you had ESPN and you might catch a couple of highlights. But yeah, it could have been an issue. But they were, Huskies were ranked fairly.
I was gonna say. I mean, it seemed like they had no problem putting like Colorado and UW way up there.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, people put so much weight into the conferences and that kind of stuff.
Some of it, there was a lot of carnage, that season.
Yeah.
I mean, Colorado wins the title with a loss and a tie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that's why they weren't ranked number 1 or 2 at that time.
Yeah.
But then Notre Dame and Washington both lose, so Colorado
slides up,
win their bowl game, and
I
think they tied for the title with Georgia Tech, if I remember right.
Man, all I know, like. The East Coast bias would be so much less of a conversation if it was an 8-team playoff.
Yeah.
I mean, because then the voters would be so much more likely to throw a team in there that they might not know as much about.
Yeah.
With an 8-team, and they're like, and also in their mind, it's like, I'm trying to think of an example. I don't know. There was a year that I think USC was really close and they didn't make it. All right, USC. Go ahead, be the 8th seed. Go ahead and play, LSU this year with Joe.
You end a lot of debates if you do that for sure.
Exactly.
There's a little debate about who's 8 and who's 9.
And there's it gives you seated? Every single year. It gives you a better idea of what the top of the conferences, what they look like against each other, how they play out, like what the best conference really is. I mean, obviously. The best conference isn't determined just by the best teams. It's determined by every team. But at the very least, you'll be able to determine, who, whether the Pac-12 is really up to the SEC standard or whatever bullshit they say. That's a way to determine it, is include more teams. I digress, though. That's something I could rant about. I could rant about that for hours.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Do you wanna hit another one? Because I only got one left.
Yeah, I'll hit it. So you have one more?
I got one left.
So yeah, we'll save that. I'll rattle off a couple.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so the next one, and this one, I don't know. It was hard to pick just a moment. And by the way, when I put together my list, there are some horrible sports moments, but I kind of saved it for games on the field. Mm-hmm. So Clay Bennett buying the Sonics. One of the worst sports, because I knew they were gone.
Yeah.
Howard Schultz selling the team, I guess, even more than Clay Bennett buying. I blame Schultz.
You can't.
More than anyone.
Clay Bennett just bought the shit. You can't.
Yeah, I would have done it.
If I had the money now. Yeah, if I had the money, I'd be making offers.
I'd do it right now. I'd go to Milwaukee and give them some stacks and rip them out. I don't care. No, I would feel bad. Yeah. I would feel bad, but I don't blame Clay Bennett other than he was pretending.
Yeah, he was deceptive. He was a little deceptive about that.
But he was playing the game.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then Griffey being traded, that was a horrible moment.
What did they get in return for that? I don't even know.
They got Mike Cameron, who was a really good player.
Good. Yeah, he's good.
And I think they got a pitcher. Was it Brett Tomko? He was a solid, kind of.
So not worth it.
Back of the no, back of the rotation.
Why did that even happen?
Griffey. This is one of these things that we all are uncomfortable talking about.
Yeah.
But Griffey demanded to be traded. He had a golfer buddy. I think it was Payne Stewart was his name.
Mm-hmm.
They lived, I want to say they were neighbors in Florida or something like that. Or they knew each other really well. Payne died in a plane accident. And Griffey had all these emotions about, I need to be closer to my family and blah, 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 blah.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that.
So he wanted, and first he said he wanted to be traded. And then he said, I only want to be traded to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that drove his trade value down.
Yeah.
So people give him a pass because they felt his emotion and family stuff, but definitely. I still I try to not think about it because it makes me mad at Griffey and I just want to love Griffey. But that
one's a tough one because while obviously that's a good reason. It's definitely a good reason. But at the same time, I mean, there's other things you can do, Now, it would have been easier nowadays with, I guess, more accessibility to technology and travel and that kind of stuff.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know. We don't have to dive too deep into that.
So I just want to throw that out there. There are some horrible sports moments, but I'm focusing on the field game moments for the most part here. So, but the 2001 Mariners, I'm going off script a little bit with that one because it wasn't, there's not like an exact moment, but it's kind of a lifetime of shame.
Yeah.
I mean, part of it is they haven't been back to the playoffs since that season.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you can erase nuts too.
Yeah, you can erase some of those memories if they're replaced by good memories. But all that season, it was amazing how many games they won because they really didn't have. I mean, Jamie Moyer, great pitcher, but he wasn't like a fireballer that was going to blow you away.
Yeah, and by the way, for those who don't know, 2001 was the year that we won the record 116.
Yeah.
So we win the record amount of games in the MLB.
Right.
And with keep going with a roster that didn't have a ton of huge star power.
Yeah. So Griffey had left in '98, and Randy Johnson left in '99, and A-Rod leaves after 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So you lose three of the biggest stars the Mariners have ever had. And after those guys are gone, they win 116 games.
Yeah.
But basically, they had 5 solid starters. They had 4 guys that won 15 games, and their 5th starter won 10 games. Wow. You don't see that.
That's nuts.
Anymore.
That's nuts.
You never see that in the modern
game. Not even close.
Yeah. They had just a very solid bullpen that let them, when they got ahead, they closed it out almost every time. They didn't have like a big bat or a big arm. They were all like, good ball players at every position. Anyway, So I kind of, you kind of wondered how they won 116 games, but man, what a fun summer. Like every night, just expecting them to win.
Yep.
And they're the talk of the nation, and are they going to set the record, and just on and on. It was awesome. Loved it. And then a couple of things. First of all, 9/11 happened, right?
Yeah. So
the season's going great, and then 9/11 happens, and it cuts out part, delays things a little bit. Totally changes the tenor of everything, including baseball. And then they get to the playoffs. They struggle in the first round against Cleveland. They lost 2 of their first 3. Losing pitcher of Game 4, by the way, was Bartolo Colon.
Oh, wow. Wow, I did not know that.
One of my favorite fat guys.
Yeah. Shout out Bartolo.
But they did, so they lost 2 of 3, but they battled back, and, they won the division round. Moyer won his 2 starts.
Yep.
And then they go to the ALCS, so they kind of limped through that. And you're like, whoa, we're supposed to sweep. We're supposed to sweep. But yeah, so then the ALCS, the only win was Moyer. First couple games were fairly close. And then they just got destroyed in Game 5 to end it.
Yeah.
So it was just wow, you feel like, wow, we're going to win the World Series, and then you just get annihilated essentially. Yeah. So it was really tough. And I think I've said this before on this podcast, but when I go to watch a Mariners game and I see that banner up that says 116 wins, like I just sort of like it just a sour taste in my mouth for sure. Just because of the way that it ended. So yeah, it was rough.
Yeah. The 116 game banner, I've had mixed feelings about that too.
I mean, it's cool that they did it.
It's really cool. But, I mean, it's like there's a reason no one ever talks about it. Really.
You didn't even get to the World Series.
There's a reason no one ever talks about it, because it's followed up by, but you didn't do shit with it. It doesn't
ever
matter.
Again.
And the crazy thing, obviously, I mean, going from winning a record amount of games to not making the playoffs for 20 straight years is just unheard of. I mean, that is so nuts. And the crazy thing is, next year, I don't know how the wild card, was there only one wild card team or were there none?
I think there was just one.
Because I'm pretty sure we won 98 games in 2002 or something, or
93.
Or 93, yeah. Sorry, not 98.
Yeah, and they didn't make it.
Yeah, so you win 93 games and don't make it the next year, which is, I mean, pretty rough. But after that, it just goes downhill, obviously.
Yeah, that was rough. Yeah, we're so close. When you listen to the old 95 Niehaus and he says 19 years of frustration is over. Guess what? We're back. Yeah. We're back at 19 years of frustration again.
That's actually crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder, maybe we're due for an Edgar-like moment next year.
Right. Yeah, I don't know who the fuck is on the Mariners, but maybe one of them will deliver. It's
actually embarrassing how little I know about the Mariners currently. I could not hold a conversation about the Mariners for very long. Honestly, I don't know shit about their roster at all. I don't know a ton about the minor leagues either. Man, I know there are some really huge, baseball Mariners followers out there. We'd like to, I mean, in the future, we like the idea of having guests on. If you guys know a lot about the Mariners or any other team, definitely hit us up. But I want to have a conversation with someone that really kind of knows the Mariners right now and kind of get their thoughts on it, because to me it seems like right now, we're kind of taking the first couple steps in the right direction.
Yeah,
in baseball, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but in baseball, the first couple steps, I mean, there's still 1,000 steps to go when you're developing a baseball team. So who knows? But I'd like to catch some opinions on that.
And these prospects, you never know.
Yeah,
I mean, there are guys from this area that tore it up all the way through, but there's a whole different. That last step is huge.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen these guys perform in Major League Baseball. There's a long list of guys that hit 300, 350 in the minors, and then they come up and they can't hit 250. It's just tough. It's a whole different.
It's crazy how it happens like that. How it just drops off.
Yeah. Well, when you're facing pitchers that can throw 3 pitches for strikes, it's a lot different. You can't just wait for the fastballs.
Definitely.
Much, so, yeah.
Yeah. How many more you got left?
I've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Just do a couple more.
Yeah. So this one, oh boy, this one could. I mean, honestly, this could be number one. Like these last few, ask me tomorrow. This might be number one.
Yeah.
Kenny Wheaton, and Oregon fans. Yeah. This is probably one of your best moments.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I think Oregon fans used. So by the way, let me set it up. It's
Definitely, yeah. I don't even really know about this.
Yeah. I didn't look this up because I don't want to think about it too much. I think it was 1994. You had Damon Heward at quarterback, and you had Napoleon Kaufman, who maybe the best UW running back ever, along with Gaskin. First and goal at the 8-yard line. Looks like we're gonna score and win the game. And Heward throws an out, and it's picked off by Kenny Wheaton, and he runs it back. And you Oregon guys can recite the play-by-play word for word. I know it's probably your goddamn ringtone. And it really sucked. And I think Oregon fans will use that as well. That's what started. That's what started it all.
Yeah.
Because we obviously couldn't beat them for a long time.
Yeah.
But my gosh, whether that play happened or not, that made no difference.
No.
The programs were already going in two different directions. Yeah. UW was well on its way to making horrible decisions, by athletic directors, hiring the wrong coaches. I mean, that's a whole nother show. But the downfall of UW football, from there to 0-12,
That's actually a good. I'm gonna write that in the notes right now.
And so Oregon goes from really being not much of a program. So they really start ascending after that, and UW starts descending, and it is easy to look at that moment and say that's why. But whether that play happens or not, those ascensions and descensions were happening.
Imminent.
They were already happening
for sure.
So, but yeah, it was a horrible moment because that's one of those, again, kind of like the Hasselbeck thing where you're like, okay, we're gonna go win right here. We got it. We got 8 yards to go. We got the best back and one of the best backs in the nation.
Yep.
Hand it to him. Which he makes me think of some other thing I don't want to think about.
Yeah.
But then he runs it all the way back, and it's just, again, one of those where you're like, well, can we score again? No, because now we're 2 scores down.
Yep.
It was awful. So really, really bad moment.
Go ahead. I mean, go until your last one.
Okay, sounds good. And then the next one, again, this could be number one. Like, it's in the running for number one, and that's Super Bowl. Was it 40? Whatever the one the Seahawks lost.
I don't even.
XL.
Yeah.
I wrote down XL, but I don't know what the hell it means.
That's 40. That's 40.
That's 40?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. L is 50, 10 is...
Yeah.
X is 10.
Super Bowl extra large. So here's the thing. I know that this is Seahawk fans, and myself included, point out the bad calls in that game, and there were some bad calls. If you look at them individually, some of them weren't as bad, but as a collective, it's like ticky-tacky, ticky-tacky,
it all added up, yeah.
So it was more the collection of penalties rather than if you look at each one. Okay, so a couple of them. So, first of all, Jeremy Stevens, catch the goddamn ball wherever you are.
Hey, he was nice with it in Madden 06.
Yeah.
He was really nice with that in Madden 06.
He must have been sober in Madden 06.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Madden hadn't put in a drunk factor yet. 98 on the drunk factor. Nice.
Oh, God.
But so, yeah, Jeremy Stevens, catch the fucking ball. Okay. But so you were a little kid, you're 5.5 years old.
I don't remember shit from that game.
I was telling you this the other day already, but there's a guy named Paul Cavender, I hope you're doing well. But I watched the playoff games with him. He was a guy that I went to teacher school with back, when I was, that's how long ago this was. I was getting ready to be a teacher, which I don't do anymore.
Yeah.
So I went and watched the games with him, and then I come back after the NFC Championship game, and your mom says, boy, Mason was really into that game. I'm like, oh man, gosh, well, you know what? I gotta watch the Super Bowl with my boy, because who knows if this will ever happen again.
Yeah.
And you watched for about 5 minutes and split. You were 5 years old.
God
I'm not
damn.
blaming you, but
I feel bad about that, though.
you want to know
That's
what's
rough.
funny? You want to? I'm gonna make you feel worse. I never saw Paul Cavender again.
Oh my God.
We weren't super tight.
Wow.
We weren't super.
Maybe if you sit with Paul Cavender, we win that game. God damn it.
Never saw him again.
Shout out Paul Cavender. Fuck.
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy.
That's insane. Wow.
Yeah, we had just graduated.
Oh, okay.
So I just didn't have a reason. He lives in Seattle, and I lived up here.
Yeah.
I lived in North. We lived in North Everett at the time.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
I'm very busy. I had a couple kids screaming at me, and new teacher. So we just lost touch. It wasn't because of that, but it's just kind of funny. You're like, wow, I never saw that guy again.
Yeah, that's nuts.
But anyway, that's again total tangent. But a couple things I want. So the D-Jack push off, it was a huge call. It probably changed the complexion of the game. It was early in the game. You watch the play, and man, if you're objective, he pushed off.
Yeah.
That is a penalty. The problem with it is they call those plays like 1 out of every 10. Like, in modern football, it hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't. And the example that I think we talked about the other night was George Kittle in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Huge push-off call. And then there was the no call with Kyle Rudolph in a game 2 weeks prior. Where the George Kittle push off was objectively not as bad as the Kyle Rudolph one.
Right.
Right. Either Kittle shouldn't have got flagged or Rudolph should have got flagged. Either way you look at it, it was bad. So same thing,
so
same principle.
To me, they're both penalties. D-Jack did push off. It is a penalty, but it doesn't get called very often.
Yeah.
So why are you calling it in this big moment in the Super Bowl? So I think that's the beef. If you're watching this and you say it's not a penalty, come on. He
get
pushed
real.
off.
Yeah.
He pushed off.
And also I feel like I have a decently valuable perspective on that play because obviously I don't remember it. So I had never watched the highlights from that game until like last year, for whatever reason. So I watched the highlights last year, and I think one of the highlight videos I watched was just the penalties that were ticky-tacky. And I saw that and I was like, wait, that's the one that people were freaking out about? Like, because I didn't remember it, obviously. I didn't remember the play. So I saw it and I was like, oh, that was the one that people were freaking out about.
Yeah.
Huh. Again, a little soft, I guess, but
Yeah, a little ticky-tacky, but, that's one of those that you probably could call every time, but they just don't.
Yeah.
So that, it sucks that it happened to us then.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one, and this is very debatable, but was Roethlisberger in or not when he dove for the goal line?
See, that one, again, I don't really remember anything from that game. I had seen that play before, just obviously, but, man, I'm just running through it in my head. I think he was short, maybe.
Right.
But I cannot ultimately blame them for calling that a touchdown. I don't know. I think he was short, but no one really knows.
And here's the thing: they called it a touchdown on the field.
So of course, it's
when we're watching football together, it's kind of a joke of mine. But whatever call they make when they go to review, I always say, "Oh, stands. It's gonna stand."
It's just
Even if I disagree with that, I'm like they're gonna say it stands because I don't know. I'd love to know what the percentages are on that, but the stands has to be a really high percentage. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't always realize with scoring a touchdown. If one dimple of that football touches, you draw a plane from the front of the paint.
Yeah.
If one dimple of that football crosses that plane, it's a touchdown.
Right.
And if you watch the end zone or the goal line camera, it sure looks to me like you could argue that a dimple of the football crossed the line. There's no way you could overturn that. So it sucked. Like, hey, if they would have called it the other way initially, it stands, right? How often does that happen?
Right, yeah.
Whatever they call it stands, So,
seriously.
So it sucked, but I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
as much as I wish I could. The one that was BS, in my opinion, and this is a play where, newsflash, Jeremy Stevens caught a football.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was
not
was
in a
crazy.
not in a virtual game either. It was a
Right.
real life football.
So he catches a football and it gets overturned. So
Right.
he didn't catch the football, apparently, according
Yeah.
to the referees. But there was a hold call on Locklear, which probably was a hold call, but the Steeler player was offsides at the snap.
Yeah.
Like that
Definitely.
that should have been called immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So we got screwed on that one. I'll give you that one. So those were the biggest calls that people talk about. And Holmgren had the fame. I loved it when he did this, when he gets off the plane after they come back. And he's like, I didn't know we were going to have to play the guys in striped shirts as well. And they never fined him for that.
Oh, they did. Oh,
I hope I'm not wrong about that, but
wow.
my understanding was that they never fined him for that.
That's good. That's good that they didn't.
Yeah, which is funny because they fine for everything.
Yeah, and it's also slightly kind of a statement in a way.
Yeah.
By the way, according to Sports Illustrated, since the advent of coaching challenges in 1999, this is going to actually come as a surprise.
Oh, wow.
The NFL has overturned 38% of plays challenged.
Huh, okay.
Which is, and that's not counting confirms too. But it seems like every time it stands.
Yeah.
I mean, anytime it's even remotely a little close, it stands for sure.
Right.
I guess
if it's not totally obvious.
Yeah.
Like
and
there are times where it's totally obvious.
And that also, this is challenges. This isn't
Right.
replay. This isn't like booth review.
Right.
So
right.
I mean, I guess the numbers would look a lot different for booth reviews.
So there are times where the guy clearly gets his second foot down. Everybody knows it. Like I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the ones that you're like 80% sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was I didn't necessarily expect to win that game. You could put this at number 1, but I because I wasn't crazy optimistic, maybe that's why I don't have it number 1. But yeah, it was rough. It was terrible, and there were again, it was not the individual calls, but them as a group felt like we got screwed. Now there are a lot of Seahawks fans that would argue with me and be even stronger on that. But that's how I see it. But yeah, that sucked. You finally get to a Super Bowl and you lose, and like happens with all Super Bowl losers, they kind of took a little bit of a downturn from that.
Yeah. By the way, apparently since booth review was introduced, the amount of overturns has gone way up because coaches are throwing less challenges.
Oh,
so that would also make sense.
Right.
But yeah. Sorry, that was off topic, but
no, it's interesting.
But yeah, the like you said, I watched the collection of calls kind of made it rough. I also only watched the bad calls against the Seahawks. Right. I don't know. The Steelers might have got shafted on a couple too.
I don't think they did, and that's part of it.
Okay.
Like they didn't get
fair
any.
enough then.
I don't know how many penalties they had, but I don't think there were plays that were as questionable. Ticky-tacky type stuff. I don't think they got any of those calls. So
yeah,
just the totality of it that is the issue more so than the individual calls, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, 21. Okay, yeah. Sorry. You have.
I got 2 more.
Yeah, keep.
So this one I had number 1, and I almost want to put it back at number 1, but I'll leave it at number 2. So this was this was Mutombo. This is Mutombo laying down on my fucking logo, holding a basketball.
The reason I can't buy a Mutombo Nuggets jersey, by the way, which I want a Mutombo Nuggets jersey, but I fucking can't because of this series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it was just awful. So, so this was 1994. Sonics win an NBA best 63 games. A little bit, a little bit like those 2016 Mariners, though.
Yeah.
Peyton and Kemp were still very young. I think Peyton was averaged like 15-6, and Kemp was like 18-10. Like they weren't, you know what I mean? They weren't big, huge players yet. They were still kind of coming up. They had a guy named Ricky Pierce, who's kind of he was 34, kind of an old school 2 guard that took medium range jumpers. Wasn't really a 3-point shooter. They had big smooth Sam Perkins. So they had a bunch of really good guys, but there wasn't like a the go-to guy, really. Right. Because Peyton wasn't really a shooter. None of them, there wasn't a guy that you just hand the ball to and get out of the way on that team. Yeah. So, there was a worry during the season. That was a concern.
Yeah.
But you expect to beat an 8 seed when you're the 1 seed.
Yeah.
Especially they won the first 2 games. We're all getting our brooms.
Yeah.
We got we're holding our brooms for game 3 ready to go. Looking great, win the first 2, and then, they lost, so they lost the third one. Wasn't a super close game. But then they lose 4 and 5, both in overtime.
I've seen that last shot or that last play, and then Mutombo grabs the board and is on the ground with the ball on his head. That iconic moment.
Oh yeah,
it'd be a cool ass moment if it weren't for.
Yeah, it was a great moment.
It's one of
Mutombo.
Just without the context of it, that picture, that video of him with the ball and he's crying, that is genuinely kind of one of the coolest moments in NBA history. But
the worst.
But it's the worst. But it's absolutely the worst.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Obviously, I don't have as much of a personal connection because I was not alive at the time. But
right. But yeah, it was just stunning. I mean, some of these for me are like, what did I expect versus what happened? And we expected to sweep Denver.
Yeah.
Mutombo was a great defender, but he couldn't score.
Yeah.
I think he blocked.
He was really young at the time, right?
I think he was pretty young, and I think he blocked 8 shots in that game, and he's one of those guys, though, that who cares about how many he blocked? He changed every shot.
Yeah.
Like, if you're shooting from half court, he's bothering you.
Yeah, I forget. Yeah, I forget what the stat is, but it's like shots affected or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if they even had the kind of those numbers around at the time, but
he would have to be way up on the all-time list.
But I know, with a guy like Rudy Gobert, he obviously gets a ton of blocks, but that's the other argument for him. People are like, oh, well, he only gets blocks. No, he alters every single shot in the paint when people are going down there. Every single shot, and there's not as many guys that can say that in the league. I mean, it's like Gobert, I don't know, maybe Embiid. There's a few guys that can really say that are a menace down in the paint like that.
Right. Well, there just aren't as many big men.
Yeah.
It's a different game.
That's what I'm saying. It's there's not just those big lumbering shot blockers that you can't go.
Google Mark Eaton. I think.
I know Mark Eaton.
Is that Mark
Eaton? Yeah.
Yeah. This big. Yeah. Just big. He looked like Paul Bunyan out there.
Yeah.
That guy probably wouldn't be able to play much today.
No, he couldn't move, could he?
Not really. I mean, he wasn't.
He just stood in the paint.
Yeah.
And
put his all he did was block shots. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're down to your last one, right?
Yeah. I'm sure we. You know what? We don't have the same number 1. Wait a minute. That's weird.
All right, we'll just talk about it.
Should we talk? Are we gonna go here? This is a hard place to go.
So,
you ever have those moments in your life, in your family, that you just don't talk about?
Yeah.
The memories are too painful. Mm-hmm. So that's why it wasn't even on my list, man.
We didn't put it on our list because it's a cheat code for this list.
Yeah.
It's one of the most heartbreaking moments any sports fan has endured in sports history.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're on the 1 yard line. Marshawn
Can't believe we're doing
in the
this.
backfield after one of the most spectacular catches in Super Bowl history by one of my favorite athletes in history, who did not make my list, by the way, but I love Jermaine Kearse. Oh God! And then you run a slant with Ricardo fucking Lockett and Malcolm fucking Butler makes an amazing play. Obviously, you know what happens. Michael Bennett jumps off sides to reduce any chance of a safety, putting us back in the game. Just in Michael Bennett fashion.
Bennett jumped off sides. How
I know,
weird.
It's insane, huh? Apparently, by the way, apparently there's a chance he might come back. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, sure. Whatever.
I mean, just seeing the gif of it replied to tweets, Seahawks players or something will talk shit, or fans or whatever will talk shit. The top reply is just a gif of Malcolm Butler picking off Russell Wilson on the 1-yard line.
Yeah.
It like every time I watch that play, I genuinely am like, I feel pain like when I see the replay of that.
Yeah.
And also I don't know if I've admitted this. I was in the bathroom for that Jermaine Kearse catch, and then I came out of the bathroom, knowing that the Jermaine Kearse catch just happened while I was in the bathroom. I came out because I did not want to miss us scoring the touchdown.
Oh,
I should have stayed in the fucking bathroom.
That's you.
It's me. Come get me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You can pick me up. I just...
Wow.
Yeah. No, but aside from that, obviously, you know, coming off a Super Bowl, playing against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, people are sick and tired of them winning by this point. Have been for a while. My God, man. Just, it's painful to talk or think about.
Yeah. You know, there are a few things about that game. So, first of all, Legion of Boom, you know, they kind of blew it.
Yeah.
We forget that they let Tom Brady walk down the field and scored a touchdown. We shouldn't have been behind.
Yeah.
So Legion of Boom caved in a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an interesting one. So first of all, yeah, put me on the list of hand Marshawn the goddamn ball. Like, put me on the list. I'm on the list.
I think, especially it was a second down or was it first down? I don't even remember. Was it first and goal?
I think it was second.
Either way,
I've blocked this out of my memory,
me too.
and I did not look at my.
Nope.
I can't go there.
I didn't know.
I'm trying to remember without.
I don't.
wanting to remember.
I don't know the stats. I don't know how players even played that game. Really,
no
I just am gonna decide to not look it up, except for the boy who went, Chris Matthews. That was like kind of a cool moment of the game. But
yeah. I'm on the list, but I will say, I'm sitting there, okay, we're going to give the ball to Marshawn, obviously. That's what we're going to do. But there's a little bit of me that's like, a lot of people don't realize this about Marshawn, but he wasn't the best on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 because he always shuffles and dances a little bit in the backfield. So once he gets going, he's hard to stop, but he wasn't always great in short yardage situations. Now, number 2 is if he gets stuffed, then you got to burn, I believe, your last timeout. Again, I could be wrong. I could be remembering some of this wrong.
Yeah.
You burn your last timeout, and now now everybody knows you're throwing on those last 2 downs. So it's one of those things, you know, and we love Jermaine Kearse, but could he have made a better play to shield the defender there? And then, if they do, I know it's a big if, you say this about anything, but if they score a touchdown there, then fucking genius, right? Yeah. Wow, what a great play.
Yeah.
Caught him off guard, threw the pass, we would have been so happy that I don't think we would have thought about what a shitty call it was. But if you get stuffed on that play, you're in a tough situation with a second-year quarterback.
Yeah.
Where everybody knows you're throwing. But yeah, no, shitty call. Now, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm 100% shitty call like most
the thing
of Seattle is.
It could have ended up looking really smart if Malcolm Butler. I mean, yeah, like you said, you could blame someone on Jermaine Kearse. Malcolm Butler made a very, very, very good play.
Yeah, he did.
Which kind of ended up being the only good play of his career. He kind of got benched the next year. I don't even know what he's doing.
Yeah, I don't
anymore.
know what. Yeah, I kind of went downhill.
I'll look that up.
But yeah, so yeah. It fucking sucked. If you're a Seattle sports fan and that's not your number one, I mean, come on and get real.
Yeah.
It's one of those moments where you go from you felt like a sure victory to a sure loss in a couple of seconds. I remember just sitting there. We were at a party. And I'm sitting there, and everybody else got up, and I just remember I just sat there and just it was I couldn't accept it, I didn't believe it.
It was
like
the look on Richard Sherman's face of shock and just utter heartbreak. I mean, that's the look on his face is what we all felt on the inside. That look on his face always gets memed, where he's it looks like he's gasping and crying. Yeah, that is genuinely the feeling that everyone had. more more or less an outward reaction from a lot of people. But yeah. By the way, Malcolm Butler he plays for Tennessee, which I forgot. He played 9 games last year.
No idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fuck him. I hate him.
Yeah, fuck Malcolm Butler. Honestly, I don't give a shit. I hope he is out of the league next year. No, I'm just kidding. All right. Now that that's over. So
shower.
yeah,
I need a shower.
We didn't. Yeah, we decided not to put that as our number one just because
it's too it's a whole different thing.
I don't want to like give it the satisfaction of being the number one at anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it's shitty things. Okay. My last one is kind of an interesting one, and it's this current COVID outbreak.
Yeah.
I think, I know there's a lot of Seattle people that don't like the NBA, don't watch it, whatever. I love the NBA, yeah. I love I don't like, okay. I don't love the NBA for not having a team here, obviously. Like, I'm mad about that, obviously. I love watching the NBA, though. The playoffs were supposed to start on Saturday. And now you have... Apparently, Giannis doesn't have access to a hoop, even. Like, Giannis hasn't touched a basketball.
He needs to work on shooting.
Yeah, seriously. Apparently, I mean, Giannis, hasn't touched a basketball in 3 weeks or a month or something. Wow. Like, that's insane. And I think when we look back at this, it'll be tough to say because we still got our Super Bowl. We don't know what the future is going to look like. But I think, obviously, looking back on this, there's going to be things you think about first other than sports getting canceled. There are much worse things going on than sports getting canceled. Yeah. First of all, yes, much worse things than sports getting canceled.
We're a sports-focused podcast,
yes,
so that's the angle, the lens
that is the angle. We're going from the sports angle here.
Yeah.
Man, is this LeBron's lost ring? Like,
yeah,
is this Giannis? Who's, like, are we gonna go without a championship? If we go without the NBA Finals this year, this is gonna be one of my worst sports memories ever. Because the last few years, especially, I've been really getting into basketball, and also I've just been diving into the sports world more in general, as far as kind of really knowing the ins and outs and the players and that kind of stuff. The last 2-3 years or so, I've really started to get into basketball in the NBA. If we don't see at least some revised form of the playoffs, I will be devastated. Like, I will be so sad. Obviously, I'm a huge LeBron fan, and like, this is potentially, like, if these playoffs get canceled, this could be the difference between him being just considered the GOAT, like, outright. If he doesn't get a ring this year because the playoffs didn't happen.
Right.
That might be the difference in a lot of people's minds between him being the GOAT and him not being the GOAT. Now, I know for you, I think you think it takes 2, right, for him?
Yeah, I think so.
It takes 2 championships for LeBron, for you at least, to be considered the GOAT. I think he'll win one more. I genuinely do. I think he's going to win one more before he retires, and I think he was going to the finals this year at the very least. We're talking about legacies here that are being affected, and although it's not as personal, obviously, with Seattle sports, it's something that I think obviously we're going to remember forever, and something that it's just devastating as far as sports goes.
Yeah, it sucks at every level. I feel bad for all the youth sports too. I feel college sports. I feel bad. We've got a buddy of mine, Kyle Peacock, who won 2 state championships at Jackson for fast pitch softball, and he's got a good looking team again this year, and they don't even get to play. They're senior girls who aren't going to get to play, who aren't going to walk at their graduation. On and on and on. And anyway, I don't want to go. Want to go too. But
this can get much deeper.
It just sucks.
Especially because it's like, not only do we not have sports, but this is the time when we need sports the most.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Which, by the way, in about 24 minutes here, we have for us 24 minutes. 4 p.m. on Sunday the 11th or 12th. There is the NBA horse contest, which would be kind of cool to watch, but. it's not playoff basketball.
No,
right?
not exactly. But hell, I'll take anything at this point.
Yeah, so we actually have some money up on that, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah, I got Trae Young, or no, actually, I have Trae Young against some of my friends. Against you, I have Zach LaVine, and you have Paul Pierce going all the way. So
why the hell did I pick Paul Pierce?
I don't know why you picked Paul Pierce.
I just feel like that's probably all he's been doing the last few
years.
True,
that's a good point.
I don't know.
He's been on TV a lot though.
Yeah, he has been.
Anyway, I wonder I wonder how him and Chauncey Billups, I wonder how their shots are looking.
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't, it doesn't go all the way away, but they have not been putting up the shots that probably Trae Young and Chris Paul and Mike Conley, all of them have. Yeah, so that's my last one. I don't know if I'd say that's my number one on this list, but it's just it could be depending on where this goes.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth mentioning. And it's weird talking about it because it's going on right now. So it's not even sadly, it's not a memory yet.
No,
we're in it.
We are.
Sadly, it's not a memory yet. Yeah. But I think once it is a memory, I think it will be looked at as one of the worst things to happen to sports. And I mean, we're talking about like if college football doesn't start on time, I don't know how college athletics will survive. Yeah. Like, it could get much more complicated than missing some MLB games and missing the back third or so of the NBA season. What's your last one?
Okay, so this one, again, my last few here, you could put them in any order, but so, it's UW football, which is probably my favorite thing. Mm. And so, again, they won the championship in 1991. 1992, they had won 22 games in a row, covering the end of 90, all of 91, and the beginning of 1992. So we go to Arizona. We had thumped Arizona the last few years, just not really competitive games. And I went to that game. This game at Arizona.
Do you guys play Arizona every year? Was it the Pac-8?
Yeah, it was Pac-10.
It was Pac-10, but you still played it?
Played Arizona every year. Played all... Well, I think there was a cycle, so like you'd miss a team for 2 years.
Oh, okay.
It was weird.
Yeah.
It was weird the way they did it.
Yeah.
So like we didn't play Oregon for 2 years, and then we didn't play this. Whoever. We always played Wazoo, but we didn't.
Was it North and South still?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was very strange how they did it.
Okay. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah. So, so win the title in 91. Things are looking great, and then the Hobart stuff breaks.
Yeah.
That he had this loan. He's suspended. But we got Brunel. That's what hey, Brunel maybe just as good as Hobart.
Yeah. Again, for viewers that are probably my age,
sorry,
Billy Joe Hobart, quarterback of UW at the time, took a loan, which was not against NCAA violations. Apparently, was not taken from UW. It was a family friend. But Mark Brunel, obviously a great quarterback still. So.
Yeah. So looking good. Things are still moving along despite the Hobart stuff in the air. But we go to Arizona, and first of all, it sucks when the other team's fans are holding out dollar bills at you because of the Hobart loan, and there are all these signs and stuff. And you just feel like, I get it. I would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
But it just like, oh God, this just sucks.
Yeah.
And then so we're there during all this, and so it was a tight game all the way through. And then they scored. Arizona scored 13 points in the fourth quarter to pull away. So it was 16-3, but it was tight all the way through. And you end a 22-game winning streak.
Mm.
I think they had just moved up to number 1 in the rankings. So we're again kind of like 90. You work to get there, and then you piss it away to an inferior opponent. Now, Arizona ended up being really good for the next few years. They had this Desert Swarm defense that was really good.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so they were, I think, kind of lying in wait for something like this. And again, probably, you'd have probably underestimated and all that. But yeah, it sucks. So that game, because of the implications, because of the expectations versus the outcome, that's the reason this is so much worse to me than that Snowball game. Mm-hmm. Because Snowball, it's like, it fucking sucked, but whatever.
Yeah.
it didn't change where we were going.
Right.
It didn't really matter all that much in the overall scope. But this was devastating because you go from, hey, we might be back-to-back national champions to, the wheels just kind of falling off. And, you could argue, again, a whole nother podcast, but you could argue that the Hobart thing and losing that game, the wheels fall off. Don James leaves, and it just starts a downward spiral. That 16 years later, you're 0-12. Like it took a whole shitload of bad decisions, but it all kind of started with Hobart, and then that game. But it just it was awful. They were throwing shit at us, and it was just and they were storming the field. I mean, they just beat the number 1 team in the nation.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's worse because I was there, but it also, again, just the 22 games in a row that they had won, having that come to an end when you're, what was I, 21 years old?
God,
that was a tough one to
peak
swallow.
Passion for sports.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was rough. And then they lose to Wazoo, and then they lost in the Rose Bowl that year.
Yeah.
That was, but it just, again, really didn't expect the loss there, and just the implications of what it all meant. That was horrible.
Where are we at on Tiempo?
That is an excellent question. 137.
Oh, Jesus. We've been going.
God, you talk a lot.
All right. Well, we definitely don't need to fill more time then.
No.
We're good. It's a good cutoff point too, obviously. That was our list. Go ahead, drop your opinions, obviously, in the comments. If you made it this far, why the hell are you still listening? Thank you, though. Appreciate it. I mean, as always, suggestions, we take it. Criticism, compliments, anything, I mean, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and, I mean, if you think we missed something, drop it in, I don't know, YouTube comments, or I'm sure this will be posted on Facebook, on your Facebook and my Twitter, so you can reply to us there. Or, I mean, chances are you probably have our numbers. I mean, if you're listening to this, you probably have our numbers. So, Anyway.
Yeah, happy Easter to everyone
Happy
out there.
Easter. And,
stay safe.
I mean, stay safe. Stay the fuck away from everyone else, please. Put on a mask or whatever you have to do. If you're going for a run, cross the street when you have to. I mean, just I hope everyone's doing good. Hopefully we can...
Hopefully you're not eating as much as I am.
Seriously. This is something that partially, I mean, mostly we just started to kind of fill our time. Hopefully we can kind of do the same for you guys, give you maybe a little bit of distraction, although we did talk about COVID for a while there, but hopefully we could offer a little bit of a distraction. I think that's pretty much it though.
Thanks. If you made it this far, thank you. We appreciate you.
I mean, seriously, we're
having a blast, and hope you are too.
Definitely, it's fun drafting all this stuff up and kind of doing. I mean, we don't do like a ton of research, but doing a little bit of research and kind of diving deep into the thoughts that we have about sports. And anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye-bye.